blah blah.
Now? Is it on right now?
Yeah.
Oh. Hey, everybody. How you doing?
Oh, there's the skeleton.
This is Mahi.
Put the skeleton
The
there.
wonderful, beautiful DM. Would you like to roll the recap?
Okay, I will.
Thank you.
I can't
Thank you.
sound as cool as you though, cause I'm Batman.
I don't sound cool.
I'm Batman.
I'm Vengeance.
I'm still Batman.
Yeah.
It's not what I do, but what I am underneath that defines me.
Thank you, Eli, for making sure that this takes
didn't
longer
do-
than it should.
Because I'm Batman.
I've stopped talking.
I'm still Batman. I'm going to be something else now.
Right.
Not Batman. But something more. Something we deserve.
I have a feeling that the DM doesn't actually have his recap out and he's trying to buy time.
Yep. Nope.
I'm
That's
GM,
what I
man.
was thinking. He's like stalling right now. He has nothing out.
What? That's not anything to do. That's not in the DM hand guide. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, you have
What's
that with
coming
you.
up there? Error? I just know.
He's like trying to find like all of the rule books and stuff. Like I'm Batman.
Everyone likes just silence. It's just fun. 10, 20 minutes of just not talking for a while. It's very entertaining. Okay,
Yeah.
so here we go. Recap time. Halfway through their exploration of the Woodland Mansion, having detoured from their initial destination of the Circle of Thunder, the party finds themselves searching for the orc leader Granik. Having learned about this clan's intention on performing a ritual for Talos and seeking objects of magical powers inside to complete said ritual, Python continues her investigation of the former laboratory area, having found a satchel and a freshly made symbol of Talos etched into the floor made of mud, surrounded by what appears to be some burnt wood from the Gothias tree. Inside said satchel, discovering a map of Neverwinter Woods. 3 locations marked on it. Hill with a lightning bolt drawn above it, assuming that this to be the same hill of where the Circle of Thunder is said to be located. A house southeast of said circle, their current location, and then a 3rd location marked southwest of the circle, forming a triangular shape connecting the 3 points. Out of the ashes of burnt wood, she spies an orcish footprint leading away from the symbol and heading into the northern room, which Python follows to find an old library. Library having a few scattered tomes left upon broken shelving, but several desks containing parchment and ink, which Python begins to collect. A spiral staircase ascends to the 2nd floor of this library, but Mahi begins to worry about the party being separated for so long, and so both attempt to retrace their steps back to the front of the house to join the others. Having fully explored the lower levels, the party then attempts to scale the stairs up to the 2nd level, leading to 2 more hallways. Once again, splitting the party up, Tavi, Thangelo, and Tor head towards the eastern hallway, Python, Mahi, and Drippy taking to the west. About halfway through, the first group gets assaulted by sturges, large bat-like blood-sucking mosquito monsters that descend down from the rafters above them. Angelo attempting to form a shish kebab collection of these said creatures by the tip of his rapier, while Tavi dances frantically trying to remove several that have attached themselves to his plentiful body. Tor, channeling her vision through Drippy and being led blindly through this hallway, narrowly avoiding initial attacks, not even realizing that there is a battle, and having come to herself just as she watches the other 2 flailing away. Meanwhile, Mahi, Pyth, and Drippy stumble across a master bedroom, surprising a group of orcs currently ransacking the room in search for something. One of the orcs studying a strangely placed coat hook on the eastern wall, and carrying a black wooden staff, addresses their new guest with suspicion. Sus. He hands off his staff to another orc and instructs him to meet the others at the Circle of Thunder. The grunt escaping through a secret panel that connects the master bedroom to the 2nd floor of the library. And the leader turns back to question Pythavin on her reasons for interrupting him. Pythavin still attempting to convince these orcs that she herself is a powerful emissary of Talos. And orc confirming himself to be Granik sees this as an opportunity to test his master's will to see which faithful of Talos would prevail to be the true chosen. He blesses the remaining orcs in the room, which immediately attack, but just as quickly meet their demise as Mahi cuts through them with his axe. Granik, now alone, calling upon the strength of his deity, and throws a bolt of lightning at Pythavin, knocking her out in the process. He watches his comrade fall in battle, but rages to finish off the shaman. As the rest of the party finishes their battle with the Sturges and Tavith grossly bites the head off of the remaining one, Tor reconnects with Drippy to see this battle unfolding on the other side, and they dash to lend their aid. As they approach, they witness Mahi's vengeful killing blow and Pythavin on death's door. She's rescued from that brink just in time, while a few others attempt to track down the one lone orc that escaped earlier. Mahi, only able to see the orc had ran through the library and mostly has already fled the building by now, does rejoin the others as they try to recoup from their individual battles. Angelo takes this opportunity to survey the room and discovers what most likely the orcs were searching for. The code hook apparently being a secret latch that once pulled opened a wall leading to a small hidden vault containing a billowing cloak and a small treasure chest. Unable to pick the lock as it seemed magical, they'd then try brute force, pop the back hinges off, revealing some treasure, a rod, some gold, a pair of boots, and a bag. These items giving off a magical glow, including the cloak, and Tor takes the opportunity to study each one, identifying their specific magical properties. While the others rest for a bit, Angelo continues to search the rest of the room and does notice a strange orb in the corner, directs Tor's attention to it. Tor going to study this object, but not before berating Mahi on his previous actions, almost allowing Pythavin to die while he thirsted after the glory of vengeance. She leaves Mahi dumbfounded in this in this conversation and investigating the orb, concluding this to be an orc of scrying. She investigates the orb of scrying, a crystal ball, albeit broken, but possibly still able to function temporarily should the group decide on how best to use it. They deliberate on the best candidates, and confirming they have a limited shot to do so, decide to scry on individuals they have a close connection with. Pythavin volunteering to look into Corlin. The group watches as the orb lights up and reveals a busy Corlin in his tower at Candlekeep, who surprisingly notices the fact that he's being watched and responds in kind. Corlin attempting to convince Pythavin to return back to Candlekeep, but she persisting on her previous suspicions of his involvement, which eventually culminates into a very heated discussion between the two of them. Revealing that Pythavin's family home was eventually destroyed with certain members of her family unaccounted for, Corlin continues to condemn Pythavin on her choices, accusing her of not caring for her family, forsaking her familiar bonds for her religious and relational pursuits, upon which she immediately drops the conversation. She storms out of the room, Tor going off to offer her condolences. Angelo receiving a magical text message shortly thereafter, Corlin trying to appeal to Angelo on the fact that her sister has been compromised, and he's requesting Angelo to intervene on that behalf. Angelo promptly chucks said sending stone out the window, telling Corlin to F off.
The actual phrasing was F himself.
Oh, sorry. Okay. F himself.
Difference.
Very well. And then he continues his investigation of the room while looting one of the dead orcs looting the orc of his Talos amulet. He then spies a strange illusional effect that's currently upon the room's center mantelpiece. And that is where we pick up. Upon which, as Angelo investigates this said mantelpiece, and realizing that his hands, as he kind of sways across the mantle, they kind of disappear into kind of an illusional effect, and his hands stumble upon something that he physically is not seen at this moment. As he grasps, he can feel a handle and something sharp on the other end with both hands, and he pulls out what appears to be a nice, bright, shiny rapier. Very well crafted, made, and on the handle piece, he notices an etched crescent moon shape. The blade flickers in the light protruding from some of the broken windows in this room, as it glints off and reflects. Shines brightly. He senses there a magical presence upon this sword.
Well, that's interesting.
gonna kind of flourish it and test it out like against the air.
Swishes, very similarly to your current rapier.
What's the what kind of weight does it feel like? Does it feel like pretty light, pretty heavy?
It is not super light. I mean, very similar to your current weapon of choice at this point.
I'm gonna kind of pull out my other rapier and I'm gonna hold them side by side.
Okay. You notice that this one, and what you kind of assume is picking up the light, but as you kind of step further into more of a darker areas of the room, you actually are noticing that as you go into a more darker corner, the light of the sword you just found actually gets brighter. While, of course, your current rapier dims in the darkness.
Well, what do we have here? I'm gonna sheathe my rapier and I'm gonna hold on to this one.
Okay.
Hello. Can I ask you a question?
Me?
Yes.
Go ahead.
What would have you have done? In this situation? Was I wrong to... And I point at the body to take care of the threat first before...
Well, I was not in here at the time. But your friend was dying. And as you can see, and I gesture to the mutilated body on the ground, that is a bit overkill. I am not in a place to tell you what you did was right or wrong, but if you have to ask me, of all people, then you were probably in the wrong.
The reason why I ask is... You remind me of somebody. Somebody I should have took advice from a lot more than I did. So...
Well,
yeah.
here is my advice. Apologize to both of them. But make it sincere. You need to promise her that you will not do it again. An apology means nothing if you commit the same act you are apologizing for again.
He just kind of nods his head. I'll do just that. Thank you.
However, that being said, I would also not overdo it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Just apologize, but don't make her feel sorry for you, if that makes sense.
Oh, I understand. I think my problem is I do something wrong and I just gotta fix it right then, but that doesn't work.
Just know that some actions have consequences that you cannot fix. Just know that some things that you do will taint your image and will taint people's perceptions of you, and that is something that you cannot change, except by the way of time and apologies. Time does heal. But you must deal with the repercussions of your actions for the time being.
Can I ask you a serious question?
Was that not a serious question?
No, it was, but you sure you weren't a therapist at one point?
You could say that.
Interesting.
Cool.
Or he's lying through his teeth as a thought.
Mahi's just taking it as face value.
Sounds like something Mahi would do.
So, Mahi, as you kind of take this opportunity here, you kind of think on these thoughts, and in your solace there, you go ahead and pull out the boots that Tor gave you earlier, and you're like, kind of wiggle your clawed toes and kind of set the boot next to your foot and kind of compare. Interesting enough, I mean, this does not look like it would actually fit you. But Tor kind of conveyed to you earlier that, in her description of it, that these are magical. And so you go ahead and shrug your shoulders and attempt to curl up your toes and kind of stick it in your boot. And
He has those voice crack. He has those dragon feet that's kind of slightly inverted, so he's like, this is weird. Like tries to like bend his foot back and is like trying to fit them in.
you contort it and kind of tiptoe, and you start first of all, kind of take a look at the room, and everyone's kind of busy off to their own thing. Tavith is kind of just looking at the ceiling. Angelo is still kind of inspecting his sword and kind of shifting it from side to side, kind of catching. You kind of get some of that glare that kind of is bouncing off of it in your eyes.
I can imagine
you hear
Mahi.
whispered tones coming from the hallway, and so while no one's really paying attention to you, you go ahead and kind of ballerina step into the boot. And as you notice, as you start pulling it over your foot, it starts to warp, and you watch as the kind of the leather interior of it kind of starts melding into your skin. And it's weird, and you kind of almost suspect like there's some kind of constriction or grip to it, but you definitely don't feel anything. It's like a warm sock that you're putting on, feeling. Of course, you wouldn't know what that feels like either. But you can imagine from what bards
like
and taverns have told you. Yeah, it's like that wouldn't work either. You don't know how to put things on your appendages, unfortunately. Clothes are fun, weird to you. I mean, most dragonborn are naked. All these human, restrictions and societal.
I don't need pants, but dang, okay.
Freaking pants. All you need is just something to block a sword from gutting you. But in any case,
secretly jealous of Tavith.
you watch as the boots, it almost becomes open-toed, and they kind of recede back into it and around, so your clawed toes stick out, and it melds itself into almost like sandals in a sense.
Yeah.
Eventually, you go ahead and put it on the other one too, and then now you notice you have kind of a matching pair of specifically crafted boots that look like they were made to comfortably fit your interesting shaped foot.
He just kind of takes a step and kind of wobbles for a second.
This is the weirdest thing I've ever experienced.
Just kind of feels him out. Kind of does a little jump. Just kind of like...
Okay. Now you notice when you do that, you kind of take a little jump, and you kind of lift off the floor and barely hit the roof of the room here, and then hit the ground and kind of stop and notice. And Tavith and Angelo kind of both looking at you at this point. You like literally jumped off like maybe 4 or 5 feet into the air when you didn't feel like you put that much effort into it.
Whoa.
Is this what shoes normally do?
A pair of those?
Unfortunately, I do not. Crap.
I don't believe my boots do that.
Okay, because I've never tried on shoes before.
You. Alright, that makes sense. Never mind.
I was gonna say Mahi's been barefoot this entire time. Like ever since y'all have met him, he has no shoes.
This is gonna get weird quick.
Like what? It's like when you put shoes on a dog. You're like, oh,
Exactly.
Yes.
Like how dogs kind of like swing their foot. That's kind of what Mahi's doing right now. He's like, yeah. Like he's still. Yes, exactly.
We're all putting it in.
all of us imagining the same thing. I'm glad that we can all humiliate Mahi without actually seeing him.
He's kind of like lifting his leg a little higher than he should. Kind of sets it down hard and lifts it up and sets it down hard.
And as you do so, you kind of notice. I mean, you're almost as like a knee-jerk reaction. Your feet kind of spring, and you feel bouncy. A weird kangaroo, scaly kangaroo.
My dear Paladin, you can
about the
walk
right shape, though.
normally.
He kind of puts his hand on the wall and just tries to walk normally. Still a little wobbly, but he's slowly getting it.
You start to ease into it and kind of get a sense of your kind of newfound ability here, and eventually it starts to feel somewhat normal again.
Okay. I think I'm getting the hang of it. I am so glad Tor was not in here to see that. Or Pyth. Any of them.
Takes a step, almost trips. That's all I wanted to do.
All right. At this point, Tor and Pythavin finish their conversation.
I believe we left them hugging in the hallway last.
Nobody saw that.
Nobody saw that.
Yeah, those two are just like sitting on the floor at this point.
Mahi's looking like a but they're having a group moment and Mahi's over there trying on shoes.
Some strange role reversal.
Just prancing around like a runaway strip.
All right.
Tor's just kind of sitting there. Tor's like not going to be the one to talk first.
Man, Pyth just wants to sleep.
So does Tor and her level 1 exhaustion.
Same. My real life level 1 exhaustion.
Like, what time is it right about now? It's probably still daytime.
Yeah, it's still daytime. You can tell the lights are coming out from through the holes in the roof and the holes through the shuttered windows around the room here. You would guess that it is probably a little later in the afternoon. You suspect you'll have daylight, but you may not know for how many more hours.
Tor would know.
Yeah.
No.
How many hours? How many hours until sunset?
How many
Minutes,
exact minutes?
Milliseconds.
You probably have
Time
between
is
maybe
it?
2.5 hours left of daylight before it starts twilighting.
Well, we still have 2 hours and 35 minutes until the sun goes down.
And we still have scrying to do.
You know, we could waste a scry. And we could scry in on someone we don't like just to scare them. We could scry in on the Lion Shield Coster.
Ooh.
No.
Just
Lenine.
scream as loud as possible.
That's
That would be fun.
Assuming that they notice us scrying on them to begin with and are able to respond like Corlin did.
Well, I'm pretty sure that we could at least make them know that we're scrying on them. I feel like there's a way to do that. Something about, I don't know, failing saves or something.
She made me be mean to Vigo.
You're not hearing this.
You're
We're
right
in the hallway
next to
still.
us.
No,
Somebody
we're-
moved you next to us.
Yeah, we did not come back.
Yeah, we were
Oh,
not in.
see.
Somebody moved us
Oh,
back in.
I thought you were
was-
talking to the
that's
rest of the group.
No,
so-
That's
No,
why
we're
I-
trying together. Sorry, we're still in the hallway.
I
gotcha.
We're making
All right.
plans without you
I was
guys.
following
So
the board.
none of the rest of you guys hear this.
No,
Yeah, sorry,
we're
I wasn't looking at
just
that. I was
sitting.
looking at my character.
Whack.
Sorry.
just sitting in the hallway. No. We should go back and see what Vyerith is up to.
Let's do it then.
How terrible do I look on a scale of 1 to 10?
Hold on.
Rolls a d10.
Shh. Actually, I might. Hold on.
Let's let fate decide this.
Okay, well, I rolled 2 separate rolls. About a 9. Wait,
Pretty
hold
good.
on. Wait, was this how bad you look or how good you look?
Wow.
What was the question?
What's the question again,
Yeah,
please?
this could be really bad or really good.
How terrible does she look?
Yeah, that's pretty
Wait,
bad.
can I change my answer? Ryan?
Too late.
On a scale of
I
1 to
misunderstood
10,
the
you're
question.
9. Terrible.
See, I thought it was like on a scale of 1 to 10, like how you usually rate people. Like, oh, they're only like a 4. Okay, you changed the question dynamics on me, and I got
9.
confused.
She didn't change. You missed
No,
it.
Pyth is asking if it looks like she's been crying.
Okay, well, we're running with this. Tor misunderstood the question. But I'm explaining this in person. This is in character. The look on your
Yes.
face. Oh, wait. So it's a scale of 1 to 10. How bad you look? A
Ye-
2.
Is it? Oh, okay. I'm just gonna stand up.
And I have a 13 deception, just so we're clear.
Oh.
Right. Now I'm gonna get up and head back into the other room. And
And I'll follow her.
I will do my best to make it look like nothing happened and I'm fine. And I'm rolling deception.
I'm
Alrighty.
I'm rolling inside.
Everyone can roll it.
Yeah.
25.
Can
Yep.
I was about to say, can I help her with her deception? But I don't know if I can help with that.
Not a 25. I'm sorry. 27.
Oh,
I rolled
Okay.
an 11.
So here, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you with your deception. I'm gonna like laugh as if you just told a joke as we walk back into the room. So can she have advantage?
I feel like that would almost give me disadvantage.
I was gonna
That was
say
a
that's
natural 20 on the inside check for me.
21
Oh.
for Tavi, 27 for Angelo. Mahi's probably not gonna get this. What
No,
would you roll?
11.
13?
I got a 14.
14. Okay. So
So-
Tavith and Angelo, you kind of notice that Pythavin's still kind of visibly shaken from her previous encounter, though you can tell she is trying to stiffen her face. Mahi, you're not really
Pyth.
noticing the girls come into the room for the most part.
She looks
You
as
are-
unreadable as she always does.
You kind of watch as you enter the room. You see Mahi's kind of almost running in place, like he's trying to train for a marathon, and looking very inquisitive into.
High knees, high knees, high knees.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, Tavi, you got a nat 20, Tavi?
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah, you can tell Pyth been crying.
Hmm.
I'm gonna look at Python and just open my arms like I motion my hands to like bring it in for a little huggy. She needs looks like she needs a
Oh,
hug.
huggy.
Huggy,
No.
huggy. $5.
And now I just turn to Angelo with my arms open like do you want a hug? I guess she didn't take it.
no.
Mahi? Anyone?
Nah, he's not paying attention.
I'm a little busy. Front place.
Well,
So
Oh,
let's
my-
harass Vyerith. I'm gonna walk over to the scrying stone.
Oh,
hopefully she
alright.
won't notice us like Corlin did.
And if she does, we'll just flip her off and hang up. It'll be fine. I mean, worst comes to worst, we get to flip Vyerith off.
That's what I did with my family.
This isn't about you.
She gives you the look,
The look of death.
very similar
Look my
to the
mother
previous
gives.
look
It's
look
pretty much
my
the look
mother
he gets
gives me.
every time I look at him now, actually.
at this point.
Yeah, no. At this point, it's just Tor.
Tor's just
It's
not
just the
skipping a
face.
beat here.
Okay, so, Pytha, are you gonna do this or am I gonna do this?
Who's going to have a better connection?
I have no idea. I really enjoyed chromatic orbing her, but she did stab you, so I don't know.
You guys can roll insight on this.
Insight.
We'll both roll insight.
I will every time without fail if I'm offered an insight check.
can I roll insight as well?
I gotta reroll.
Sure.
It's cocked.
All right.
Insight. What is my insight
It's a
modifier? I
19
forget.
for me.
Oh, I have good insight. I have a 20. Not a nat 20, but
I have a 21.
Nice.
So we have 19, 20, 21.
All right, so all three of you basically kind of all say at the same time. You kind of look at each other and you start throwing out ideas in terms of who has the best connection. Python mentions, well, she did poison me. Well, somewhat directly indirected. Angelo knows why he has a connection, but whether he chooses to say this out loud, I will leave that up to him.
No.
And so he volunteers his services for this purpose, saying, "No, well, actually,
Do you offer? Like,
yeah,
you're probably going to have
let
the
me do
best
this.
connection.
Yeah, let me do this here. So, DM information download at this point. Angelo, you know specifically you have a connection.
Yeah.
That being the case, you will decide on how you want to use that information. Python, you'll know that you have at least the connection involving your ailment is directly connected. So you'll have probably not the most direct connection, but still a connection. Tor, you are noticing that you're not really going to have anything personally connected with this individual to your knowledge. You would probably be the least choice here. But you do recall with your keen sense that Tavith did mention knowing her specifically. So you do kind of know that Tavith actually might be an alternative, though he is not aware of
oh
this.
yes, I am
thought.
aware of it. I just don't know if I want him anywhere near a magical object
Right.
trying to work it.
That's
So,
the last
these
person
are
you
the
want
things
to be
you
the
know.
one person who can talk to Vyerith if it comes down to it.
Wait, what happened? I missed the.
Exactly.
And that's exactly why we're not letting you near the
Exactly.
magical item.
I believe that I will have a strong connection with her.
I will defy you people.
Any particular reason for that?
Can you trust me?
Can I touch it?
Are you asking or are you?
I would like to insight check him.
Go ahead.
I trust you. I'm not even gonna insight check him.
13.
Go ahead and roll your deception.
19.
Yeah, so you're not getting a good read on the Python.
Trust is not something I give freely,
All right.
but
The Tor
I
trusts
will
me.
not press you.
Why don't you trust him?
I don't trust any of you.
I can guarantee you that I have a strong connection with her. But
You
I
don't
only
trust
want
me?
to... No, I do trust you. Oh,
I'm not talking to
oh,
you.
Pythavin, yeah.
I mean, what's your passive insight?
It's a 15?
She's lying. She trusts you.
Oh, okay, good.
Well, I can only have one other person in the room.
If you think you have the best connection, then do it.
I will. But I will only have one other person in
Oh,
the room.
I misunderstood.
Sorry, it's your accent. It's a little thick tonight.
My apologies.
Alright.
Who?
Me?
You can decide.
Oh. How about you just pick, because these kind of arguments typically devolve into name calling when we try to figure things out. If you
All right,
recall, like,
Pythavin.
there we go.
I was already on his way to walk out.
He's like, I'm dang, Angela's picking. I'm not like freaking picking for dodgeball or something like well, dang.
I would always pick last for the dodgeball teams. Okay, Pyth, do you remember how to... Can you help him with the sending stone?
Yes,
Not sending stone. Scrying.
either way.
Or, yeah.
Pite's kind of just eyeing Angelo like, okay.
Out. I come back in. Tavi, you too.
What?
Hallway.
Hmm.
Hallway.
I can't move myself. Somebody do it.
Oh.
I'm not really watching the game board, by the way, just so you know.
I am.
Okay.
It's
That's fine.
fun. I like to walk my character
Yeah.
across the screen.
You're placed appropriately.
So
All right.
I'm gonna help Angelo set up the little scrying orb.
I'm gonna put my hand on her shoulder.
She's like
Alright.
in the middle of messing with the scrying orb and just stops and looks at him.
Do you know what I see when I look at this? And I pull out the amulet that I took off of the orc.
An amulet.
I see a symbol of hope. I see that with it comes power for you to protect the ones you love. But I also see that it is a great burden on you. Which is why if you are going through this fight, I will not let you go it alone. And I'm gonna put the amulet on. I know we have just met, but you can trust me.
Pyth kind of looks him up and down. If this is because you pity me, I don't want it.
I don't pity anyone. You had a sucky life like everyone else in here.
Did blurb not work? Blurb muted. There it goes.
There we
It was
go.
a terrible one.
That was a horrible one.
Sounded like Maki dropped something like outside the door.
Ah, crap.
You like jumped too high
Alright.
to
What
the
are you doing
ceiling.
with those boots?
Friggin-
I'm trying.
His torso was just stuck in the ceiling right now.
Wonder if it specify.
Don't put the space. Anyway. Alright.
Well, continue.
No, it's not working.
So I finished setting up the scrying orb for him and then like explain for him how to actually start it so that it connects to him and not me.
Oh, there we go. Neat.
The loud thunder is the best one.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Will it bring up the same menu every time?
More or
If,
less,
and if I
yeah.
don't do random, okay. That's helpful. Okay, there you go. Yes. So as you put that on, Angelo, both of you kind of hear in the distance.
Pyth flinches.
Well,
It's all you now, mustache man.
you can call me by my name.
Angelo.
All right, cleric, let's go.
Pyth rolled her eyes.
I'm gonna try to use this thing how she showed me how to use it.
Python, roll an insight check for me.
I am rolling an insight check.
So many insight checks.
Ooh, 21.
I was gonna say there was a pause when you call him by that name. Like he had to think about it for a moment. Continue.
I mean, I was there when the other lady was like, "Is that what you're going by now?" So yeah, Angelo does the scrying orb thing.
All right. So Angelo, Python kind of starts instructing you here on how to use it. So you're not being super familiar with these type of things. You go ahead and try to follow along accordingly. You end up putting your both hands on the orb, and after a few moments, you both kind of watch as the swirling vortex within starts coming and animating to life, getting faster and faster. You can kind of see a little thunder flash inside the orb, and it brightens out, and you watch kind of almost an aerial view of the Sword Coast, and you kind of see as it scans around, and it kind of passes through some familiar locales, and then rushes like a violently flashing of a collage of different areas, and you see going through forest and fields and hills and passing through what looks to be maybe a quick flash of Phandalin, and then beyond into some mountainous region, and then it focuses on a cave and goes inside said cave. And you watch as it kind of weaves in and out of these dark tunnels. You see some goblins, you see some orcs kind of passing through. There's some undead spectrals that kind of pass your vision real quick. And then eventually it ends on a large cavern area where there seems to be kind of a makeshift kind of camp set up within this cavern. You see some tents and some tables scattered, weapons surrounding, several orcs and goblin guards kind of surrounding the exits to the tunnels. And it focuses in the center, right in front of one of the tents. You see two individuals, both drow, one female, one male. As it scans further and gets into focus, you're now kind of positioned squarely between the male and female drow, noticing the coloring of the leather armor and the features. You present or assume that this female is Vyerith. Neither seem to have... That is correct. Neither seem to have noticed your presence. And they are in conversation. At this point, Angelo, your kind of eyes are kind of glazed over here, and you're focusing. You're seeing this inside your head, basically. Python, you're kind of watching it through the orb. And you kind of catch the middle of this conversation. The male drow kind of addresses Vyerith. And he says, "Our timetables are drawing near, Vyerith. Are all the preparations made?" "Yes," she says, kind of very, somewhat frustratedly. Like she doesn't particularly like to be talked to in such a manner. "The final step, I assume, is being prepared." She nods her head. "Indeed. It'll be a few more days now. We will have the keys. The forge will be ours." The male drow shakes his head. "You know that that wasn't the best way to handle that situation." She nods. "I had to act in the moment. For those of us that have had to survive in this surface world, of which you would probably not know anything about, brother." He shrugs. "We all hold our allegiances, sister." And she kind of nods as well. "Including the others." She kind of darts back, have her countenance kind of shifting into almost kind of a quick anger. "Do not speak of her. You weren't there. You don't know what we've gone through." He kind of sits back and he watches. He kind of steps around one of the tables, and there's a map unfolded accordingly. He kind of looks down at the map, traces his fingers upon it, and then looks back at her.
Can I see what's on the map?
Your vision where the orb is positioned at this point does not give you much details to the map.
All right.
And you don't seem to have the ability to control where the vision is pointing to you at the moment. He looks up and goes, "Nevertheless, what is your intentions once we find the forge?" She responds back, "Well, the same as yours. Abandoning this surface world, leaving it to let the giants and the dragons duke it out. My interest is reclaiming our home." "And what of his intentions for the forge?" She goes quiet. And she deflects and goes, "That will come in time, brother. But until then, our duty at hand is to make sure the plan goes accordingly." He says, "Well, what of the dwarf?" She says, "My spies in Cragmaw intend to still keep the dwarf until we need him." The male looks back at the map. Do you suspect there to be foul play? She shrugs. The goblins will play along as they have been. I intend to visit them personally here shortly to reclaim what's left of him. The male responds, he is alive, I presume. She nods. Good. Apparently we'll need him. Between him and the keys, the door will open. She kind of paces and kind of walks, not necessarily too close to him, but she kind of straddles the side of the table and peers down at the map herself and looks back at him. Or so he says. Mel nods. Or so he says. Well, we'll find out. If all this is for naught. Vyerith kind of stops. You kind of notice her kind of look, not in your direction. At this point, none of them they're not facing you. They're kind of facing each other and around the table area. But she starts kind of scanning the roof, and you really can't tell from your position because it's fixed. You can't really see what she's looking at, but she's kind of darting her head back and forth. Something's not right, brother. He shakes his head. Nothing is ever right with you. You suspect everything. And she leans in close to him. That is why I've survived. And then he kind of leans equally back. That is why she did not. You kind of watch her scowl. Her hand kind of hovering over her blade. But she stops. And then she kind of looks at your direction at this point. Now you see her. She faces you. I need you to roll a wisdom saving throw for me, Angelo.
Angelo!
Come on, Angelo.
Wise,
Eli.
right?
I swear,
Oh.
if this die, if
No.
this die.
Oh,
Oh my god, Eli.
Oh,
You better
no.
not ruin this for us.
Oh my god, Eli! Oh my god!
I'm sorry.
One. It's a critical one.
Do-
plus three is
Do
four.
you have inspiration? Do you have inspiration?
I'm sorry.
I do.
You want to spend it? It'll give you advantage.
Another
I'll spend it. I'll spend it.
red one.
Actually, I'll say this for the inspiration purposes. To spend an inspiration at this point, I won't even have you roll advantage. We'll
You
call
just
it a
succeed.
save. You just succeed.
Okay.
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 So,
Thanks
Angelo
for nothing, Eli.
and Pyth, you also kind of noticed this at
I'm
this point.
sorry.
A little unnerving, but you kind of remember that she can't see you. At this point, at least not
she
to
shouldn't
your
be
knowledge,
able
she
to.
shouldn't be able to see you. So you kind of instinctually, your natural indication is kind of almost like you kind of look around the room real quick and kind of wonder if can I hide somewhere, but you kind of realize that it's just like looking through someone through a false mirror. They shouldn't be able to see you, but she's given that kind of look like she senses something, and then she kind of turns back. We have 2 more days. Tomorrow I intend to visit the goblins. We'll reclaim the dwarf. The 3rd day we'll go back to Phandalin and reclaim the keys. And then I can be rid of this and rid of you. And he shakes his head. Duke Zato is not going to appreciate what our intentions are. She goes, Duke Zalta can go to hell for all I care. If it wasn't for those foolish fire giants, we wouldn't have been up here in the first place. Because the Master has many faults. But he assures us if we help him rebuild their Vanendad, they will assist us in reclaiming the Underdark and our rightful place. Vyerith goes, I need no assistance from them. I need no assistance from you. Do not forget your place, brother. In our society, while you might have some clarity on the surface, once we return, our roles will be reversed. And he responds, that's my hesitancy to return. She says, well, you do what you will. What of Maya? He responds. Vyerith shrugs. I haven't seen her in some time. I assume she still is in Danbrith. Was she aware of what happened to Vaconia? She shrugs. Maya has always followed her own path. She chose to stay behind. The rest of us were doing our duty to the church in Athkatla. Laconia, more pious than the rest of us, she took it too far. Pushed the borders. That's what happened to her. I assume it was the involvement with him. Yes, I'm sure it was the involvement with him. He seems to have capitalized on it. As it suits his purpose. Why do you follow after, brother? It's a business arrangement, sister. I answer to another. You answer to another. Our intentions, hopefully, is that we will not have to answer to anyone if plans go accordingly. Again, I cannot wait for said time. And she kind of goes into her pouch and pulls out a familiar orb. And it kind of flickers. The male drow looks at her, and then looks at her. How long do you sense the control will last? She kind of looks and doesn't address him directly, but still staring at the orb. It's hard to tell. This bauble that you got for the giants, it seems to be waning. The male shrugs. Nothing is permanent. Do we have alternative plans should it fail? She nods. Yes, like we do with all of our alternatives. We deal with them. And to the rest of the guild, most of them have been disbanded. Ah, yes. We have our That's a detective to thank for such. The orcs and the goblins will serve their purpose in place. And once we have the forge, none of that matters anymore. He kind of leans over the table. Be cautious, sister. This is usually the time we need to be extra careful. Those that are so close to victory are soon opt to lose it. She kind of backs up. She hoods up. She kind of gives a dismissing salute to him, and he nods. She turns. A couple of the other goblins that are kind of lingering in the background, kind of watching. He kind of watches one of the goblins' faces kind of block your view for just a slight moment, and then walks past. She snaps at a couple of them. They kind of spring to attention, and then she walks out to the left. It's still focusing on the male drow, and he starts looking back down at the map. And then looks back in your direction again. You should make one more wisdom saving throw for me.
Come on.
16.
16. The vision clouds and fades. And you're back in the room.
Well,
Well, all right.
that was a lot.
Very much.
That was, approximately 784 words.
Nice. Oh my god.
Nice.
She doesn't even have a keen sense feat. Making up for
Tor
Tor
has
not
just
being in the
astral
room.
projected into her mind.
Tor wants to know so bad that she just...
Pyth is the new Drippy.
Well, we can call the others in. And then we can tell them
I just whistle for them.
what we have seen.
Tavi storms in.
None of these are
Gotta move
safe
2
things.
tokens.
Why isn't that working?
Straight cash, homie.
That is not.
It's not. That's.
That's not. There we go.
Do we just want to shorthand, we tell them what we learned, or is there anything
Yes.
you would like to keep
Tell me.
So
under
basically,
wraps?
I mean, yeah, you guys decide
At Angelo?
full disclosure or paraphrased selectively.
So Pyth isn't going to be the one to share. She just kind of crosses her arms and looks at Angelo for him to explain, because if he only wanted one other person in the room, she's letting him divulge information as he sees fit.
I tell them everything, but I leave out the entire section about Maya.
Okay.
I knew it.
You
Mother, father.
sneaky.
I immediately need to know how old Maya is so I know if this is a child or an ex-girlfriend.
It's my mom.
It's my mother. She's
My
87.
mom.
She's a cultist. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know what you want to hear from me, but
Wow, that was a lot of names. places.
Indeed.
Good thing you have a good memory.
Oh my god. On the break. Yeah. About that. It would be better if I could see this written down.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. For some reason, this like works better for me that way. But, anyways, good news is we know that Gundren is alive. So there's that. I look at Angelo like,
Yes, that is good. Passive
Tor,
Insight picks up that Angelo isn't really enthused. Like he's
Tor, roll a insight check for me.
16.
16? Okay.
Yep. Okay.
What?
I suggest we should probably rest for a minute.
How about?
8 hours.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to
Speaking
say.
of which, Tor, can you figure out what this is? I'm gonna hand her the rapier.
Oh, yay, another weapon that we have found after killing the monster. I'm sure this won't go badly. Sure. I'm gonna go ahead and just do identify on it. It'll take me a few minutes.
Mahi just kind of trails off and starts looking into a wall when you say that, like, oh yeah.
Well, we can go. We can get some sleep. Bythevin, I do think it is safe to assume that you have at least 2 days.
Right.
So we can at least spend one night.
Should we rest here?
I don't think we should rest in this room, and I'm going to point at the orc.
Hmm.
He's still a disgusting mess of an orc.
We could camp outside. Not have to go back and forth again. And be able to keep an eye on the house in case anyone comes back to it.
I believe that is wise.
Can I sleep up here?
No.
No.
Okay.
We will have to determine who will keep watch because I don't think we should all sleep
Not
at
me.
the same time.
As per
can.
usual, I can keep watch for at least half of it. I don't need as much rest as the rest of you do.
Alright, you can take first watch, Mahi second, and then me. Tor, Tovith, you need rest.
Thank
I'm
you.
still looking at the knife, trying to do identify on it.
Now, just to clarify, but you guys still have plenty of daylight left. If you wanted to short rest, you'd still even have daylight left accordingly. I'll say that a lot of this, in terms of the identifying, the searching the room, even the orb scrying, are all considered kind of light downtime work, so it would not have interrupted short resting. So if you wanted to short rest and hit die their recovery, you can do that. Or if you guys wanted to long rest here, you can. It's up to you.
I think we need a long rest just because, like, I'm out of spells. I know some of us are struggling with spells.
I have
I have-
one slot left and it's first level.
I have no spell
I'm-
slots left, dude.
I've
Shut up,
actually been
I-
doing really
Angela
good.
doesn't
I've
even
been
take
doing
his
really
spell
good on
slots.
my spell slots, guys. I've been very, very conservative with them,
And on
actually.
top of that, you get them back with a short rest. I hate you.
Only once a day, and it's like a maximum of the equivalent of a third level spell slot. I already used it earlier to get back my third level spell slot. I've been being
Still.
I have one rage left to use,
Alright, we
which has been good.
are clearly
of smites.
exhausted. We need rest. We can start early in the morning. Or, as much as I hate to say this, we can rest briefly and then go check on that ritual site where they may be gathering. If they plan on doing the ritual tonight, we might need to know that.
If they do that tonight, then we've lost our unicorn.
So perhaps it would
If we
be in
don't
our
go
best
tonight.
interest.
To at least check it out.
Yes. Rest briefly, check it. And then if everything seems calm enough for the time being, we rest for the night.
That sounds like a plan.
So I'm taking a short rest.
Okay. Everyone go ahead and can take a short rest as well. For those that need to spend a health die, you are able to do that.
Can I I don't know how attuning works. Oh, like I've never attuned to an item. Do you just can I attune to that during the short rest, or would that cancel out the short rest?
What's that?
Boots.
The
Your
boots of
boots
striding and
do
spring.
not require tunage. Oh, I'm sorry. They
it's-
do. They do require tunage.
yeah.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
So that would accommodate the short rest. That is correct.
Okay, so does that mean I wouldn't get any benefits of a short rest if I attune to them during it? Or can I get the benefits of a short rest and attune to boots of striding and springing?
Hmm.
I think you can attune during a downtime.
It,
I don't
yeah.
think it takes, because I think
It-
I've done that in the past.
I
It
believe
depends on
it
the
does
item.
not. Yeah.
Because some of them you have to like do specific things to attune to them. Some of them are just like requires attunement, which just means you have to focus on it, which would count
Yes.
as a downtime thing.
You can attune and short rest.
Yay!
Yep.
Cool beans.
Can I do a thing?
Nothing was strenuous in this particular case that you guys have done.
Can I pray to my stupid, useless deity and be like, can I please have some magic back before a short rest, and then short rest, and get that channel divinity back?
Don't you normally get it back on a
No.
short rest? Oh, it's a long rest, yeah.
I get the... I don't get any spells back on a short rest, but
Channel
I...
divinity, you get short rest. Is
Yes.
a short rest. Yeah.
So that's what I'm asking, is if I can just do it real quick before get that thing back. Yeah, okay, cool, got it.
What?
We're good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you can short rest. You normally get channel divinity. It's not a special thing.
No, I'm saying I have to... So can I use channel divinity before I short rest, because I haven't used it yet, so
Oh.
that I can get a spell slot back, and then short rest?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
you could do that. Yeah, you hadn't used it before.
Correct.
Right. I gotcha.
I just noticed I can use Stones of
Yeah,
Endurance to reset
that-
my HP.
That is
Hey.
technical on that point.
Hey.
Yeah, you want to spend your
That's cool.
channel divinities to if you didn't use them. Yeah, makes sense.
Hey DM, what's the sharp pointy thing?
Yes. So during this period, Tor, you identify that rapier as a moon-touched rapier.
Ooh.
Hey Angelo, some moon-touched rapier,
And you kind of point to the crescent moon shape in the handle. Um,
touched by the moon.
Mr.
You
DM, do I
explain-
have any clue what that means?
No, but she explains to you that in darkness, while the blade is unsheathed, the blade will shine a bright light in about 15-foot radius.
Basically,
It
it's
is-
a rapier
it-
that always has light cast on it, is what I'm hearing.
Exactly. It's
You've got a glow stick.
It's thing.
Yes.
You've got a glow stick rapier.
It doesn't glow. It actually shines bright like a diamond.
Shine bright like a diamond.
Diamond?
Mhm.
Oh,
Can
got
you
him.
turn it off? Does it have to be sheathed to
put it in
stop
the-
glowing?
It's not an action. It just says, in darkness, the unsheathed blade of the sword sheds moonlight. It creates bright light in a 15-foot radius and dim light for an additional 15 feet past that point.
So if you
So
want
no,
to
you can't
hide
turn
with
it
your
off.
sword, in the dark,
You have to have it.
use a
sheathed.
different sword.
Right.
I
But
just got
essentially,
maximum life back.
with when the blade is unsheathed, you want
Yeah.
to see what you're fighting in the dark.
Yeah.
So
Angelo doesn't have dark vision,
Haha,
Python.
there's
loser.
there's not too many times necessarily. Now, granted, of course, rogues would, so you wouldn't necessarily want to be stealthing about with it unsheathed. That would defeat the
Yeah.
purpose, possibly.
But like, I probably wouldn't even be stealthing about with it unsheathed in the first place.
Yes, that is correct.
You're not
I
exactly
hand
the
him-
assassin type, so
Not really.
Not really. Well, there's always character development, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
why
I
did you
hand
say
him
it
the-
like that?
He's got
Am
potential.
I allowed to talk?
Yes.
I swear, every
Been
time I
trying
have gone
forever.
to say this, like it's not even a big deal, but every time I've gone to say it, you have started talking every time, and I know there's a delay in the mic, but every time
Teehee heart.
I hand it to him, I just give him the rapier.
I guess this is
That's
true. She
wicked.
could have kept it for herself.
Just trying to give him back this thing he handed me. Oh, also, I don't think they'll kill Gundren until they're inside the forge. I do think they'll kill him, though.
It sounds like they know of the riddle.
Yeah,
They know they
Well,
need a
where
dwarf.
are they going to find a gnome?
there's,
Well,
I don't know. Gnomes are, I don't know.
if Corlin's
might
on
already
their
have one.
side, there are gnomes in Candlekeep.
That is true.
We don't know for sure that he is, but it is not off the table.
I'm casually replacing my rapier with this rapier.
Okay.
While he does that, I'm also gonna pull out that dagger from my boot again and just hold it out to him.
I would
She's gonna
rather not
trade you.
I would rather not steal your god's favor from you.
Oops.
You're going
Why
to
he
need
just
a
kinda
weapon that
smiled.
doesn't glow in the dark.
Alright. Won't turn it down. I'm gonna take the dagger and I'm gonna put it in my boot.
Okay. You now have a dagger.
Pythe's kind of like,
Daggy.
okay.
Pyth, remove a dagger from your inventory, and Angelo adds one to your inventory.
Mr. DM.
Mm-hmm.
Looted rapier.
Yes.
Can I just look that up or?
Yes, just go to manage equipment and search Moon Touch. It should pull up in the list.
Nice.
You can add it.
And while I'm giving things out, I'm also gonna go through my bag and Torrent.
What?
I found this, and I'm gonna hand her a whole bunch of ink and paper.
Ah! I take it all.
All right. Do you
What
give
is
her
it?
all of it?
All of the paper, all of the ink, but I'm keeping my pen. It's my pen.
All right.
That's fair. I have
So
an ink
you
pen
can
already.
add the gold value of the ink and paper at this point. I believe was 50 ink and 50 paper. So gold wise. But she kind of hands you like a huge stack of paper. It's like a
Crap.
tome's worth of paper.
But I put it in my bag of holding.
Yep. So you go ahead and take this opportunity in your short rest to kind of rearrange your equipment and consolidate all of your heavier items and everything else and stuff it in the bag of holding.
God.
To that point, if
I'm
I
never gonna
assume
run
if
out
you
of
wanted
paper
to
anymore.
offer that assistance for anyone else who feels cosmetically encumbered by all of their backpacks and gear. They can also
Keeping in
redistribute.
mind how many times that we had to go with, like, Mahi, when you fell in the pit and you didn't have any rope because you had given all of your rope to Tor. Keep
This is
essential
true.
items on your own person.
This
I
is
have
true.
rope. I have stuff.
All eggs in one basket scenario.
On top of
Guys,
that,
I have so many pieces of paper.
I'm going to settle down and open the map of Neverwinter Woods that I
Mhm.
found
Yes.
so that everyone can see it and just... I also found this. It looks like their plan of sorts.
He does take a look, just kind of surveys it,
Okay.
Oh, look at the maps.
and
I don't
hands
know
it
much
back.
about maps.
DM, out of curiosity, are there any like notes written on this map or like anything?
I have the description he gave me.
Yeah. So, you can kind of tell it by the notes, and they're crudely drawn. It's not necessarily a cartographer that's doing this, not a professional at least. So, you can almost assume that they took crayons with this. But you, especially since you already have some directional knowledge that Radoff has given you, you kind of know where you are in terms of the mansion and the circle. So you identified that half of the triangle. The other point to the west is mostly obscured, but I mean, you do see like little crude drawings of what you. In fact, why don't you just roll insight for me? We'll see if you can decipher Orcish code,
Cool.
which is like stick figure level.
No. No. I don't. That was a 5 total.
It looks like something you would draw.
I don't draw.
Exactly.
Correct.
This is correct.
I just kind of nods and hands it back.
I mean, it was sitting on the floor. If you picked it up, why?
Oh, I didn't know. Sorry.
Yeah.
Never mind. Maya looks at it. And, okay.
You just kind of look at it, nod, and shrug, and like, the map. Sticking maps. You follow your nose.
Archer was the map reader, not me.
2 cans down.
You gotta bring them up.
All right. Anything else, either of role-playing nature or game mechanics at this point?
Well,
I pointed the lightning bolt. I think that's where we need to go.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I'm an expert map reader.
And you are still, just to clarify, we have short rested in this bedroom room. Still.
Yes.
Okay.
We do not learn from mistakes. We double down on them.
So often, the unearthly setting stench of corpse in the right to the bed chamber is a little off-putting.
It is what it is.
But yeah, you guys kind of pay
I
it
mean,
no mind.
we keep Tavith around, so...
This is true. At some point, you guys kind of get a whiff of it, but Tavith kind of being in the centralized area, you can't really pinpoint necessarily which direction it is coming from.
Like, Tavith is covered in blood from when he drank that, so...
Yeah, I mean, he still has, like, I mean, you can see,
yeah.
like, red stains across his beard.
Gross. Oh my word.
as
You
it
watch
drips
Tor remember
down.
it and nearly just pass out on the site. Nora just
The thing is, Mahi couldn't care less. Like, that doesn't bother him, but Eli.
All right, so well, everyone take this opportunity at this point, since we're kind of mid-afternoon. You're all probably still hungry and thirsty, so go ahead and consume your a day's rations, and you're drinking your water skins. Pythavan, I need
Oh,
you to
no.
roll a Constitution saving throw for me.
Man, I gave that squirrel a ration.
Do you need a ration?
Take a look.
6.
Oh!
Why are
saw
you
that.
stuck at this?
I saw that
don't
pop up
God,
on
every
screen.
time you have to roll one of these.
I don't know.
I have enough.
All right, Pythavan, so that's 5 points of necrotic damage.
I
to
just healed that.
you. As kind of the rest of you are kind of going about your routines, you kind of notice that Python kind of stands up and starts kind of pacing very frantically back and forth, and you notice she's kind of clutching at her chest and labored breathing.
How hurt is she looking per se?
So is
You're
DM.
right over there.
Yeah.
About 5 points worth of hurt is how she's looking.
I
Yeah, that
total.
20 still tells me that she's banged up.
Total depends on when this happened.
I gained 15 health on my short rest, so
Nice.
I maxed that out.
Nice.
I would be 28 out of 33 hurt. Because I was max health.
She'd be rough.
Okay.
Cleric life is a rough life.
To be sure. Is anybody in the group necessarily looking?
Actually, Python, did you spend a health die for the short rest?
I spent 2, but I
Okay, so
essentially
you
just
were
had
not
one deleted.
you were not full yet. Okay, no worries then.
I was full health, and then I was not.
Right, but in other words, you weren't full before the short rest. You had to
Yeah.
hit die back up. Okay. All right, so everyone has spent their health dies accordingly. Everyone has reset their short rest options, your channel divinities, your breaths, your stone endurances, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Take a break,
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
So I'll say an hour has passed, and
Fatty.
you are recollecting your items and prepping on your next venture. Do we want to break here? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Let's potty break and then return.